behind all this stands a certain entity that created each of us. Physicist Anatoly Akimov spoke about the existence of a higher mind that underlies everything that happens. Back in the Middle Ages, the outstanding scientist Paracelsus asserted, "What is first perceived as mysticism eventually becomes scientific knowledge." Once our ancestors explained lightning as the wrath of the god Zeus. Today, these electrical phenomena are studied in school during physics lessons, noted Anatoly Akimov. He was among those who believed that the modern universe could not have appeared by chance. In his works, the scientist wrote about a higher mind, about the deep connection between man and the cosmos, and about invisible radiations emanating from the human body. In his opinion, the world obeys a complex system of laws that ensure its stability. It is these laws that also determine the fundamental scientific constants. From Akimov's point of view, such quantities could not have formed through evolution, they were set artificially. About 40 years ago, researchers calculated if gravitational, magnetic, and other constants, known with precision to 30 decimal places, were changed by even 1%, the universe would lose its stability. The same applies to the cosmos, where planets move strictly along predetermined orbits, emphasized Anatoly Akimov. The scientist also asserted that man, like the entire surrounding world, could not have arisen solely as a result of evolution. Several hundred years ago, after the invention of the microscope, researchers began studying processes inside the cell. Observing its division, they were stunned. Could such complex mechanisms function if they had not been pre-programmed by someone? Anatoly Akimov pointed out that, taking into account the frequency of mutations and the speed of biochemical reactions in the cell, the formation of a human being would have required more time than science allocates to the age of the universe itself. In addition, he spoke about the existence of what is called an information repository, in which data about the entire universe is concentrated. In his opinion, it is to this source that clairvoyants connect. He studied this phenomenon and asserted that through experiments, it is possible to determine whether their visions are the product of fantasy, hallucinations, or manifestations of special abilities. Akimov divided clairvoyants into 3 categories. The first is capable of foreseeing events related to themselves or their loved ones. The second receives information from entities inhabiting other worlds. The third enters into contact with the highest power that governs the entire universe. The physicist was convinced of the existence of this higher entity. As an argument, he cited data on the number of elements in the universe. According to his calculations, there should be no fewer than 10 to the 55th power for the entire set of elements to be able to develop a controlling center is necessary. Control is carried out through signals. According to Akimov's calculations, to cross the universe from one edge to the other at the speed of light would take 1 billion years by earthly standards. From this, he concluded, the transmission of signals in the universe occurs instantaneously, otherwise its elements would not be able to function as a unified system. Interestingly, such conclusions do not contradict religious views. The Bible speaks of God's omnipresence, of his presence everywhere and always. This means that the higher mind possesses absolute ability to influence everything that happens in the universe, explained the scientist. Anatoly Akimov asserted that what people call God is thinking matter that permeates the entire universe and has no human form. He also acknowledged the existence of a subtle world where souls dwell. According to him, this world cannot be considered parallel to ours. Just as we cannot see electromagnetic waves with ordinary vision, the subtle world is not located in some other dimension. It permeates our reality, said Akimov. It is noteworthy that the scientist came to these convictions at the age of 55. It was then that he accepted baptism. When Akimov first came to the church, the priest asked him, "Do you believe in God?" "No," replied the physicist. "I simply know that God simply cannot not exist. I have 7 grounds for believing in him." The scientist Cressy Morrison also spoke about the all-pervading mind that instilled life into everything living. At the very beginning of the path of scientific knowledge, knowledge is only beginning to unfold, like dawn illuminating everything around with bright rays. And the closer this dawn comes, the more clearly the action of the intelligent creator manifests itself. Thus, humanity inevitably arrives at the realization of the existence of the creator, asserted the chemist Cressy Morrison, who in the 1940s held the position of president of the New York Academy of Sciences. In the last years of his life, he wrote an article titled 7 Reasons Why a Scientist Believes in the Existence of a Creator. In it, he set forth the arguments that led him to conviction in the existence of a higher mind. The first ground, mathematical laws. In Morrison's opinion, the immutability of mathematical principles proves that the universe was conceived and created by a higher mind, acting with the precision of an experienced engineer. In support of his thought, he cited specific examples. The Earth rotates around its axis at a constant speed, neither slowing down nor accelerating. If this rotation slowed down even several times, days and nights would become so long that plants could not exist. During the day, they would die from heat, at night, from cold. The axis of our planet is tilted approximately 23 degrees to the vertical. Without this tilt, there would be no change of seasons. Water vapor rising from the oceans would move from north to south, forming ice sheets on the continents, explained Cressy Morrison. He also emphasized that if the distance between the Moon and the Earth were reduced 4 times, tides would flood huge territories twice a day. In his article, Morrison proved that life on Earth could not have arisen by chance. The second ground, all-pervading intelligence. Morrison believed that there exists a source from which all living things draw their vital force. For example, in the root of a tree is embedded a power capable of splitting rock. This force, according to him, acts like a sculptor shaping everything living, a musician creating a variety of sounds, and a subtle chemist endowing fruits with taste and flowers with fragrance. Could nature, deprived of reason, produce such things? Therefore, there must exist a source of this all-pervading intelligence on Earth, reasoned Morrison. The third ground, instincts. In the scientist's opinion, it is this all-pervading mind that directs living beings. For example, a fish, after a long journey, returns to its native river to spawn. What force leads it back with such precision? Even more mysteries are hidden in the behavior of the eel, which upon reaching maturity leaves the ocean depths and returns to its origins. The fourth ground, human reason. Man possesses something greater than mere animal instincts. We have reason that enables us to do what no animal can, for example, to count. If we imagine instinct as the sound of a flute, beautiful but limited, then human reason is capable of hearing not only individual notes, but the music of an entire orchestra. Thanks to reason, man is able to reflect on who he is and what the meaning of his existence is. Could this be possible if a spark of universal reason were not present within us? The fifth ground, genes. The very fact of their existence, in Morrison's opinion, testifies that life on Earth was created with special care. A gene is a kind of blueprint according to which any living organism builds itself. Does this not indicate that someone cared for us? Despite the colossal importance of genes, their size is so small that it would fit into a tiny volume. And yet this tiniest unit of heredity governs the life of all creatures on the planet, emphasized Cressy Morrison. The sixth ground, proportions in nature. Morrison drew attention to the fact that in the surrounding world, everything is arranged with precise calibration, and such harmony, in his opinion, could only be created by a perfect mind. Once in Australia, it was decided to use one species of cactus as a living hedge. Soon it turned out that this plant had no natural enemies among insects in that area. As a result, the cacti began to spread rapidly, displacing people from their homes and entire cities. Australian entomologists faced the question, what insect could stop this prickly invader? In time, such an insect was found and brought to Australia, thanks to which the spread of the cacti was brought under control. The seventh ground, the ability to imagine. Morrison believed that the idea of God arose in man thanks to a unique ability, imagination. It is through imagination that man can grasp the truths of the spiritual world, including the idea of a universal mind present everywhere. This mind lives in the human heart as well, and the more clearly we feel its presence within ourselves, the stronger our striving to follow moral principles and the firmer our faith becomes, said Cressy Morrison. Write in the comments what you think about the scientist's words and whether you believe that humanity was created by a higher mind. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new materials. All the best and happiness to everyone.